As always, we got to thank God every minute of every day. Good morning, world. Welcome to In the Huddle with your boy, Joe Ham. I'm your host, Ryan Stewart. And every week, we're breaking down the toughest calls, the biggest plays, and the stories that shape the game that we love. From the NFL to college football, no topic is off limits when I sit down with my right-hand man, Joe Ham, my former teammate, Georgia Tech legend, NFL veteran, Super Bowl champion, Davey O'Brien winner, consensus All-American, ACC Player of the Year, ACC Offensive Player of the Year, two-time first-team All-ACC. This man won 2 Gator Bowls. Y'all know what that means when it comes to the ACC. And last but not least, a CarQuest Bowl MVP in 1997. Y'all knew who I'm talking about, the man, the myth, the legend, Joe Hamilton. So let's buckle up, get ready, because when you're in the huddle, you get the real talk, the real stories, and the real football insight. This is In the Huddle with Joe Ham, where the game always starts right here. Let's welcome him in, none other than the man, the myth, the legend himself, Joe Ham in the building. What up with you, Ham?
Man, I'm doing outstanding. Dude, you talk about a man of many, many talents. You nailed that. You nailed that. That's chill bumps, man. That is good stuff, man. I'm doing outstanding. As you were going through those things, Stu, I no longer I used to be not over exaggerating, but a little bit ashamed about calling out my accomplishments. No more. You, my dad, and some guys, close friends of mine, have really gotten me out of that to say embrace it. But one thing I really am proud of what you mentioned. CarQuest Bowl 1997.
Right.
That had been a streak. Georgia Tech hadn't gone to a bowl in probably 7-8 years, maybe. I think since the Citrus Bowl when you came in 1991 may have been the last time since. And from then, so when we talk about bowl streaks and we're talking about, I think you went up to, correct me if I'm wrong, Stu, 22 or maybe 23 game bowl streak that we went to, but it was up there.
I think 23 is right, Joe. I think that's right.
Yes, and I just take pride in the fact that we started it in 1997 at the CarQuest Bowl. So that's good stuff, man. I'm doing outstanding, brother. Ready to chop it up, man.
We get ready to chop it up, man, because they're cutting the grass. You can smell football in the air, and I'm very, very excited. I'm looking forward to the fall with you once things get started off right around Labor Day or after Labor Day. We're probably going to try to fit in another show. So look, man, very excited. And you're right. Before we get into it, this is In the Huddle with your boy, Joe Ham. I'm your boy, One Live Stew, Ryan Stewart. Quick reminder to catch the 2 Live Stews tomorrow morning right here on Stewart Media and Entertainment. You can catch us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and all those other platforms. Sir, you're humble. You're beyond humble. And that's a huge part of your blessings, okay? But from time to time, when it comes to spaces like this and places like this and platforms like this, I know you never do it, man, but you can stick your chest out. You can stick your chest out because as a child growing up, liking sports and loving sports, we dream to do the things that I mentioned. NCAA Quarterback of the Year.
Yeah.
ACC Offensive Player of the Year, 2-time first team All-ACC. Those things are huge. That means if you're a 2-time first team All-ACC, that means that there was you and 10 other guys that made the first team center, the first team guard, the first team guard 2 times, the first team guard, first team tackle 2 times. There's only one first team in all of the ACC.
Yeah.
So, hey, man, years ago I told you we were debating something, and you said, man, I don't need to do that, man. And I said, no, man. Sometimes you do. Sometimes you got to remind these fools who you are, where you've been, what you've done, the success you've had, how you figured it out, how you work, and why. Sometimes you got to let these people know that you was the bomb.com, sir. No question about that.
And a little bit of trust me, I know. You know what I mean?
Right.
Hey, trust me, I know. I'm not just
Uh-oh, did we lose Joe? All right, hold on. That's okay. In the huddle with your boy, One Live Stu, Ryan Stewart. I'm sure Joe will step out and come back in here shortly. When he gets back in, we'll make it happen. On today's show, we've got a good one set up. We're going to talk about NFL quarterbacks, something that y'all know Joe is very, very familiar with. We're going to talk about what's going on in Indianapolis. We're going to talk about what's going on in Cincinnati. We're going to talk about what's going on in Cleveland. Joe called me yesterday and was like, hey, man, I got a little beef with you, but I want to save it for the show. I said, well, listen, that's exactly what you need to do. Let's save it for the show, man. Let's see if we got him back. Joe Ham, you back yet? Not yet. And you're muted. So when you get back, we got to make sure you get unmuted. All right. But yeah, come on back when you get a chance, Joe. Other than those few things in the National Football League, we're also going to talk about some college sports. Of course, we're going to talk about our Yellow Jackets. We're going to talk about it being week 0 in college football. We'll get some thoughts on Joe with that. We'll definitely talk about the Georgia Tech outlook for the upcoming season. And we're going to talk about salary caps and what that means and how that works and how all those things get down. For the record, again, I'm very excited, and I think Joe is back.
Yes, sorry.
Back now? No, hey man, this is live. This is live podcasting.
Yes,
live
sir.
TV. So
yes,
from
sir.
time to time, things like that happen. But go ahead and finish what you were saying, Joe, and then we'll jump into In the Huddle.
Yeah, I was just talking about when you have a conversation with somebody and you don't want to quite let them know who you are or why you have the knowledge, or you might just discredit yourself and say, hey, well, in my opinion, or I understand what you're saying. No disrespect, right. But all those things I've become very comfortable with now because, hey, I know what a 7-step drop looks like. I know what a cover 4, cover 2 looks like. I know what it is to be in a quarterback battle, a true quarterback competition, right. Where when you don't have a chance to, show and tell, when you don't have a chance to, get the reps and impress somebody, how frustrating that could be. Right. I have a very unique perspective on how Anthony Richardson is feeling right now, Ryan Stewart.
Yes.
And how Daniel Jones is feeling. Yes. I mean, you got one elated and at the top of the roof, top of the mountain, that job accomplished that I beat out my opponent.
I did it.
And then you got one looking and reviewing, did I do enough? Right. The coaches don't like me. We've heard that before. It wasn't fair. So all those things, I'm really humbling myself to say, hey man, it's not cocky that you've been blessed to know sports and be able to dissect it and be a part of competition. So I embrace it more so now than I've ever done, Stu.
I love it, man. In the Huddle with your boy Joe Ham. I'm One Live Stu, Ryan Stewart. We're going to start off right where Joe mentioned a second ago. Let's talk about Indianapolis for a second, man. Did the Colts do the right thing by starting Daniel Jones over Anthony Richardson? From a locker room standpoint, what kind of message does this send to the team, Joe?
Well, I think it was a no-brainer to send this message, Stu. And the reason why I said a no-brainer because wide receiver-wise, when you look at the line of scrimmage, the offensive line, when you look at the DBs one-on-one, these guys have been together since OTAs, mandatory minicamp, off-season workouts, and even the start of this training camp, they kind of knew that Daniel Jones beat out Anthony Richardson. So you look at the upper management, Chris Ballard, the GM, and then Shane Steichen, the head coach. They understand the pressure that they're under. They understand that Anthony Richardson was a top 5, number 3 overall pick, and they can't miss on that. But for the sake of the team, Stu, for the sake of battling and what we see on a day in and day out basis, who's doing their homework, who's regurgitating plays and getting us into good right protections and getting us out of bad protections, all the leading scoring drives, all those type things, everybody sees in that organization. So I think this is a move that you have to in some way give credit to Shane Steichen, and Chris Ballard for making this move. Because they're gonna have egg on their face by making this move because of where he was drafted and he wasn't developed because this is not his first year. He's not a rookie. So where's the development part that you're gonna have somebody like a Daniel Jones? No disrespect to Daniel Jones, but he wasn't successful with the New York Giants.
Right.
He had a lot of, oh my God, why did y'all move up number 6 overall, Giants, to draft him? Why did y'all give him $40 million a year? Y'all made some mistakes to where you wanted, in my opinion, for Anthony Richardson to win the quarterback job.
Right.
But as a coach, you couldn't do it because he didn't win it.
Right.
Now, I don't know how impressive. I don't know how impressive Daniel Jones, as far as did he take it? Did he snatch it? Did he win it overwhelmingly? Or that, Anthony Richardson just did not do enough? And I'll say this, Stu, right before you go, I'll say this.
Okay.
I think the whole decision to go to Anthony Richardson falls back on why or how he got hurt.
Okay.
He got hurt because of a slide protection. And I'm talking about in the preseason with his thumb. He got hurt because of slide protection.
I think it was the pinky.
Okay, or his pinky. Okay, yeah. To where he didn't slide the protection. He didn't have peripheral vision to know where his hot was. His running back was right there for a dump off, and he didn't see it in time enough. That causing him to take a blindside hit that he didn't have to take if he kind of had put the protection in the right way. So if you can't do that in the National Football League week 1, that's going to cost you some of the details of, quarterbacking.
In the Huddle with Joe Ham, I'm your boy, One Life Stu, Ryan Stewart. We're here every Wednesday. Joe, you've been in that locker room. You live this. This is the time of year where the quarterback battle has to be decided. Ideally and hopefully, someone has pulled ahead. But if it's close, who do you go with? Do you ride with the guy with the highest ceiling, or do you go with the guy with the steady hand?
Woo-wee! Since you and I do the both have played at the same level at both of these levels, and in college you go with the upperclassmen. All right, you go with the upperclassmen. You go with the upperclassmen because of several different reasons: your locker room, seniority, camaraderie, chemistry with the locker room has been there. You almost rewarding that guy for being a steward of your program, leading, implementing some things in college. If it's even, I can see you having more experience of going with the senior. But in the National Football League, it's about production. It's about the steady hand. Who's going to make less mistakes? Do I have to hide this quarterback? It's a very, very hard task to, definitely in the NFL, to hide your quarterback. And Anthony Richardson is some of these quarterbacks that's going to finish second, and you make the decision that it was pretty close. I can see some of the playmaking abilities, but I'm going to have to hide you. I can't run this play because you can't get me out of that play. Or I can't run this play because we're going to be 2nd and 9 or 3rd and 13. So those are the type of things. So I think that you go with the veteran, and for an underclassman now, or in the case of an NFL, for a rookie or a 2nd, 3rd round draft guy to beat you out, he's going to have to outperform you and then some.
Okay.
And then some.
Yeah, that makes total sense to me. And let me ask you this while we're there. When the coach makes the call, like Sykin has done in Indianapolis, is that decision written in pencil? or is it permanently written in ink? How much wiggle room does Sykin now have to make a different decision later on down the road when it comes to the decision that's been made?
Both. And I give you an example of both. I think in the Indianapolis Colts, where they are right now, I think that's in Penn because Anthony Richardson hadn't shown you enough. I think it's in Penn because you're not looking to get Anthony Richardson some reps because he hadn't earned those reps. You're going to try to play Daniel Jones the entire game. You want him to start 17 games for you because that's who won the job. You don't want to play musical chairs. And you don't want Daniel Jones, who has been injury prone thus far in his career, so he might go down. But for right now, for the sake of the team and his mindset, because it's very, very fragile, Daniel Jones, to not think anybody's looking over his shoulder, to not thinking that if I throw an interception or I make a bad read that I'm going to get benched. I think that's written in pen. But I think you got to be careful of you, the New York Giants, and you, Brian Daboll, for a different reason. You writing that in pencil. I would think that you are doing your team a disservice.
When it comes to Jackson Dart and Russell Wilson, is what you're writing in pencil.
Absolutely. Now, Russell Wilson is the starting quarterback right now, Stu, without the shadow of the doubt. Well, the shadow of the doubt in Brian Daboll's opinion, not mine, not mine at all. But you write it in pencil now because you've done a good job of bringing Jackson Dart along. Mm-hmm. You've done a good job in the offseason of evaluating him and targeting him and saying, we would rather him over Shedeur Sanders. We would rather him over Cam Ward, so to speak, and some of these other quarterbacks. So now, if Jackson Dart if he continues to knock on the door of the throws and the digestion of this offense that he's doing now, you're gonna have to make that change. Mm-hmm. You're gonna have to make that change. This is not a change, and Russell Wilson is not a rookie or a inexperienced quarterback. He understands that somebody's right behind him. He did that to Matt Flynn. He did the same thing to Matt Flynn. Now Matt Flynn wasn't playing well when Russell Wilson, as a third-round pick, was able to take his job in the preseason. But Russell Wilson, because of his play, unseated Matt Flynn. Yeah. So Jackson Dart, I looked at you writing that in pencil, and then you'll be able to erase that. And by a week or the second half of the season, Jackson Dart should be your starter. The way his trajectory is going now, not so in Indianapolis at all.
It's a beautiful day here in Columbus, and I'm sure it's a beautiful day in the ATL, where Joe is around side of the ATL. And while we're in the world of the National Football League, what about the Cincinnati Bengals? Joe Ham, Joe Burrow, a few days ago, played deep into the preseason game.
Yeah.
Simple question for you, sir. Why was he out there so long? What in the hell was Zach Taylor thinking, Joe?
Zach Taylor might be on the hot seat, brother. I I don't want anybody to lose their job. I think his offensive genius is well documented, well known. I know that. But it made no sense to me. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up, Stu, I cringed, man. I cringed because you can't tell Joe Burrow to get in a ball game and not, run around and try to make something happen. That's not on Joe Burrow to know when the protection broke down that he's going to try to ad-lib and find more time and buy more time in the pocket. I'm screaming, get down, get down, get down. But that's a football game, and for 14, 15 years of his life, when the pocket broke down in real football, he tries to make something happen. Right. So I don't blame that on Joe Burrow at all. But the reason why I'm so emphatic about this, Stu, is the fact that you took his weapons away from him. In what world do you think that you're going to play Joe Burrow in an extra series without Jamar Chase, without T. Higgins, without the starting lineup? And so I don't know at that point, what were you trying to prove? And I know for a fact Joe Burrow said, one more, coach, one more drive, please. I was a little off on this. I was a little off on that. But, you're the head coach, brother. You're the head coach. There is no way Joe Burrow. Now, I know how I would look at myself, and I know how I'm thinking in the back of my mind. Hey, Joe, stop it. Could you please stop it? Because he didn't get hurt. Why are you saying that? Nothing happened. So why are you crying over something that, didn't occur? Because that's a decision made.
Right.
And it goes back to the organizational decision being made. And I have to only pile on about Trey Hendrickson with this. Mm-hmm. With this decision being made, a guy treating the all-world defensive end, don't want to pay him. You loaded up on one side of the football for Joe Burrow, which that might be. And I want to get into that a little bit later about how do you build a team? Would you go, Ryan Stewart, the route of Cincinnati Bengals, all of your money on one side of the ball? Are you trying to be balanced with it? So those are conversations I want to get into. But as far as Joe Burrow, yeah, you lucky. But my goodness, man, I didn't like the way Zach Taylor handled that with his franchise, all-world quarterback in Joe Burrow.
When you paid Henderson, when you paid Chase, when Joe Burrow was making $50+ a year, Joe, how can you pay Atkinson? Tell us and tell me, how does that work? How do you get everybody paid like that?
I tell you how. You draft well. You draft well because it's not rocket science, Stu. It's not rocket scientists at all. Why I say that? Because How many guys are being paid by the Kansas City Chiefs? All right, that's a few guys. That's Kelsey. That's your quarterback.
Kelsey, Mahomes, Jones,
Um,
one of the receivers on the outside.
yeah, you got McDuffie as a cornerback.
Well, at the end of the day, I've told people for years, when it comes to the cap in a 53-man roster, the bulk of that cap is going to be ate up by 4 to 5 players, maybe 6. But other than that, everybody else is an ancillary piece that is making a base salary. Now, a base salary in the National Football League for a player that's in their 5th or 6th year could be $500,000, $600,000, $700,000, which is a lot of money. But there's not going to be a lot of 7, 8, 9, 10-year players on said team. It's going to be a team that's filled with young guys making a base salary of 150, 160 grand, maybe more. Don't quote me on those numbers. But the moral of the story and the point that I'm trying to make is that with the entire cap, the bulk of that money only is going to 4 or 5 people.
Yeah, but where do you do it at, Stu? Because it has been done. You remember years back the Los Angeles Rams? That was Aaron Donald was paid, Jalen Ramsey was paid.
Yeah.
They had a middle linebacker was paid, Wagner, Bobby Wagner was on that
Bobby
team.
Wagner. Yeah.
So you paid the end, a defensive end outside of Aaron Donald. You were able to put more money over on that side. But the cream of the crop is the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
Man, you got 2 highly paid wide receivers.
Yeah.
You got a highly paid running back. You got a highly paid quarterback in Jalen Hurts. Who are they paying on the defense?
Right.
They drafted there. They drafted there.
Yeah,
now, here, where we're living here now with the Atlanta Falcons and hometown team, we shall see if this is going to work out with them. Because look at their investments, dude. Their investment has been solely, as of late, on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
Number 8 pick, Drake London. 8 pick, Bijan Robinson. You messed around, 8th pick, Michael Penix Jr. Number 4th pick, Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
Man, that's an investment big time on that side. And all you have on the defensive side after letting Grady Jarrett go is Jesse Bates.
Right.
You had AJ Terrell. So you paid your corner. Paid your corner, and you got Jesse Bates. But you don't have anybody up front, and that is why I'm looking to where your guy out of Tennessee, Pierce Jr., who they drafted, and Walker, who they drafted in the 15th overall pick, 2 defensive guys. If you can hit on those guys while you're paying a heavy offensive salary cap or expensive roster, you can survive. But the balance is where does the balance come in at?
You're exactly right with everything that you just said. However, you mentioned Philadelphia and how Howie Roseman does it so well. Okay, it's the total opposite of what's going on in Dallas. Jerry Jones will wait and see a player that has made Pro Bowl after Pro Bowl after Pro Bowl when they're on that rookie deal. That's been a quarterback that's got 12 wins, 12 wins, 12 wins. And instead of giving him a deal that makes sense now, he'll wait 2, 3 years like he did for Zeke, like he did for Dak, like he's doing right now for Micah. And when you wait, all you're doing, if that player continues to be who they've shown you to be, is you're just delaying the inevitable. The money gets bumped every year because players make money every year. Contracts get renegotiated every year. So when Howie Roseman sees a player like the defensive lineman from Georgia, Carter, he's been balling since he's been there. Howie's not going to wait till the 5th year of his deal to renegotiate and go back to the table. He's going to do it at the end of this year or the end of next year, a year or 2 before he gets to free agency. So instead of paying him $50 million, which the asking price will be then, you only end up paying him the asking price now, which is 40. Jerry don't understand that apparently, Joe. Talk to me about that real quick.
Well, and that's the reason why the Cowboys have been on such a drought from winning a Super Bowl or appearing in a NFC Championship game. That is why, because he's not building a roster. He's got a roster full of, one guy being really, really good or one guy being great. one guy being an all-time or the highest paid at his position. And let's face it, somewhere down the line now, Dak Prescott is not even the best quarterback in the National Football League. Some would go all the way to 10 quarterbacks before they put Dak Prescott in the top 10, and you waited so long that you had to pay him like the top-ranked quarterback. So now you can't get pieces. Now you can't pay $2 or $3 million here to get a really bona fide safety or shore up your left guard or shore up your right tackle. You can't do those things or go out there in the free agency and get a serviceable running back because of what you're nitpicking now. And the teams we called are teams that's competing. That's how you compete. Look at the teams that's going to be in the San Francisco 49ers in years past. They had to take a hit to motor their roster with Deebo Samuel. They lost Hufanga, the safety. Greenlaw. They lost. Now it's coming back to haunt them a little bit, but look at their depth. Look what they have in the cupboard. You just paid your quarterback. You got your boy Ayuk coming back, wide receiver. You paid him off an injury. You still got Fred Warner in the middle of that linebacker. You got Bosa on the end. So you got some things in there. The Washington, how's Washington and those guys building their program now? Because they're paying guys. They're paying guys to say, hey, we know your worth. We got to build this team in. And I know your answer here, Stu. I just want to hear your thoughts because I know you can very well separate I used to always think general managers, what do? They general manage. Cheerleaders, what do? They lead the cheer. Football players play football, and general managers, they handle the cap. So but I think, Stu, at some point in time, players are going to have to understand the piece of the pie.
Okay.
They're going to understand where they get in, where they fit in. If you want to go somewhere else and make all boats of money and make sure you don't leave a cent on the table, I totally respect that. If you want to go to where you want to be the highest paid on the team and not many players on that team, I get that. Your family, your grandkids, your generational wealth, I get it. But sometimes you can't have your cake and eat it too. Stay there with a lot of talent and have a lot of your teammates getting paid, and you one of those fish in that pond that's getting paid too. Maybe not the highest, but we are getting paid. You might have to do that little bit of a sacrificial money, less money to win is all I'm talking about when I say that.
Right. I can dig it, man. Your boy, One Live Stu, Ryan Stewart, hanging out with the Hall of Famer himself, South Carolina Hall of Famer, Georgia Hall of Famer, Joe Ham in the building with your boys, the Two Live Stews on on Stewart Media and Entertainment. Let's get to Cleveland, Joe. A lot of people wanting to talk about it. Cleveland's in a very unique situation too. Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, both in the mix. Joe, can the Browns really keep 4 quarterbacks on the roster going into this season?
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because, again, this is not a stacked team. And when I say this is not a stacked team, I meant that you are too deep, healthy at all positions, wide receivers, DBs, running backs, linebackers, and you can afford to give away a spot. You can afford to play around with a developmental type spot. But the Browns are not on the cusp of, winning their division or on the cusp of making it to the Super Bowl or winning a Super Bowl. So therefore, you need all the roster spots or roster, frequency that you can get. You need every bit of that space, every bit. And you can't waste that on a guy that's not going to help your team get better. If you keep a guy 4th string on the quarterback role or the quarterback depth chart, he's not helping your team at all. I would normally say he's helping your team because he's taking scout team reps and he's getting those guys better defensively. But at the 4th string QB, you're not getting those. That's for the 3rd team rep, 3rd team's quarterback. So what are you helping? How are you helping that team? Yes, you're helping yourself individually because you can develop, you can lift, you can be in there studying the playbook, you can get your footwork down, not the speed of the game, but you can get those things down. So why would you hold that spot when you have so many other holes you can? What about the gunner or extra gunner down there on the kickoff return or personal protector on the punt return or punt team? Those are the holes that's available for a 53-man roster, not a 4th string quarterback. So they can, but I don't see why and I don't see how. And that's where the decision for Kevin Stefanski and his staff comes in. Yeah. What were you looking for in this quarterback competition outside of Joe Flacco And what did you get? And what are
Right.
you going to base your decision on?
Right. At the end of the day, what I want the viewers and the listeners to understand is that what you're alluding to is if you've got 4 quarterbacks in the room,
Yes.
you're short someplace else in another room.
Yes.
And you can't be short in another room. Oh, yeah. The scout team quarterback is very important. That position matters.
Yes.
So if you got 4 quarterbacks, you're enabling your team's rooms to have success all around someplace else.
No, and let me add this to you. There's only that is correct. There's only one other position that's only one person of its kind on the football field at a time. That's the key too. So you got 4 quarterbacks, and at one time, only one quarterback can be on the football field.
Right.
It's the quarterback and it's the center. That's it. You got 2 tackles. You got 2 guards. You can have 2 running backs.
Right.
You can have 2 or 3 wide receivers. You can have 2 tackles on defense, 2 defensive ends, 2 linebackers.
Right.
But quarterback position, you can only use 1, and you are carrying 4 on the roster. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Now, again, it can make sense if you have a stacked roster. Yeah.
Right.
But that's not a stacked roster. And again, I'm a little alarmed. Not alarmed, but did Joe Flacco really do enough in maybe 10 practices? Because that's all he got. That's all he got.
Let's not do this now. Let's not do that.
No, because this is all about the 41-year-old Super Bowl winning champion, gutsy guy. That when he was here last time, he won, I think, 4 of his last 5 games, and 300. He's
the reason why they were making the playoff push towards the end of the year.
And they made it. And they made it.
He's the one that got him there.
That's right. But again,
you're not dare trying to tell me that you would go with one of these rookies or Pinkett over Joe Flacco. No way.
No, I'm absolutely not.
Pickett, I'm sorry, not Pinkett. Pickett.
Yeah, absolutely not. But what I'm saying to you that contingency plan has to be ready to rumble right now. That's what's intriguing about me this way. That's all I'm talking about. No, it is Flacco, and if it was going to always be Flacco, I am very interested this Friday or Saturday. Not sure when the Cleveland Browns play, but I know Joe Flacco is going to start. Stu, in my opinion, it's going to say a lot to you and I of who's going to take that second team rep. Who's coming there as soon as Joe Flacco goes down? Who's coming there as the second team quarterback?
Very good point. I'm glad you brought that up. Shouts out to my man DJ Chuck 4459. Shedeur Sanders needs to have another good preseason game to move up the depth chart. Okay, Joe, there's a couple of things we need to tackle when it comes to Shedeur. The first thing we'll tackle is this. They do put the depth chart out earlier this week, and they said Flacco will be QB number 1. That's no question. We all understood that was what was going to happen. But the depth chart stayed consistent with Pickett at second, Gabriel at third, and Shedeur fourth.
Yes.
So, is that the right thing for Stefanski and ownership and management to do in Cleveland? We saw Gabriel play his preseason game. We saw Shedeur play his preseason game. In my humble opinion, and we got a couple more things to talk about when it comes to this. In my humble opinion, one guy had a better game. One guy didn't turn the ball over. One guy didn't have a pick six. One guy didn't have multiple turnovers. One guy threw touchdowns. One guy didn't throw touchdowns. So on the heels of what DJ Chuck 4459 made the comment about, Shedeur needs one more good game. What was your take and your thoughts on the depth chart that the Cleveland Browns put out earlier this week?
Yeah, I thought that Kevin Stefanski did not want to play musical chairs. He's not in a position, or he's not as comfortable to name the rest of his starters. That's just the bottom line. And he thought it would be much easier to leave it as status quo. Kenny Pickett, if he was moving the depth chart at all, would not be second. Now, whoever can throw up Dylan Gabriel as 3, as 2, or even Shedeur Sanders at 2. What I know now is not Kenny Pickett. He hadn't done anything in the Cleveland Browns uniform thus far for it to be him second. No preseason games, limited reps, almost been injured 3 or 4 weeks now. So that's what I'm seeing about that. Now, as you go to what Dylan Gabriel did on his last preseason game, the turnovers are going to stand out, especially the fumble in the pocket. I understand about his pick six that in my world, in my quarterback room, when I'm quarterback coaching those 4 guys and we're going over that film, you can't make that decision, Dylan Gabriel. Well, coach, so-and-so ran the wrong route. We had an over route. We had one guy in the flat, one guy on a different level, and one guy supposed to be the higher level. It's called a flood. And that flood was shrunk up a little bit, so that caused the guy to have 2 people in one area. I understand that, Dylan Gabriel, but you cannot throw that ball. That pick is on you. So that's 2 ball security things that you just cannot have. You cannot give away the church's money. By all accounts, you cannot do that.
Don't give away the church's money.
So by all accounts, you cannot do that. So yes, but I'm telling you, the ball came out of Dylan Gabriel's hand. He was deadly accurate like he was in college. Some of the play action under center things that, worked pretty well in Stefanski's offense was good. But he didn't, but again, he didn't have to, if the depth chart was him before Shedeur, he didn't have to outplay Shedeur. Shedor's going to have to outplay Dylan Gabriel.
Great point,
if
Joe.
you understand what I'm talking about.
Great point, Joe.
So that's how I'm looking at it now. So both of them are going to need this last preseason game.
Before you move on from that, the point we talked about last week, and Doug and I talked about on Monday's show as well, is that third stringer has less of a fight than fifth stringer. Both third and fifth are fighting for their lives.
Yes.
But the nod, if everything is even Stevens, is going to go to third.
Yes.
Because that signifies why the draft pick was spent on third.
Yes.
That signifies why this guy fell to fifth. That signifies, okay, if 3 is higher than the 5th, that means we drafted him right. That means people won't question our asset that we used for this player. So it's a mind game, and you just made the perfect statement. Dylan Gabriel is not going to have to outplay Shedeur.
No.
Shedeur is going to have to outplay Dylan Gabriel.
And
Very good point, Joe.
And that is why now, Stu, so let's not gloss over it. That is why that those 2 turnovers might have cost Dylan Gabriel. All right, because you can't sit back there and just, be loose with the football and saying that you didn't get outplayed. And you said it about 2 minutes ago that Shedeur was clean with that football. Shedeur did not turn the football over, led a few scoring drives, very crisp decision-making. So was that enough? Because, and I want to say this too, Stu, you and I and our listeners here, we are reading and we're watching preseason games. And that's all we are, blessed to be able to see. Those coaches have got way more. They have individuals. They got film session. They got, little call outs and meetings like the clock ticket. I remember being with Tom Moore and Peyton Manning when they'll give you a protection or they'll give you a defensive front and they'll snap their fingers. 1,001, 1,002. And by time 1,003 hits, you had better say. Well, no, this is in the film room.
Oh, okay.
So let me explain myself about that. John Gruden did it as well. Gruden did it as well as far as a QB learning game. It's like a card game in the QB room. And when your turn comes, they'll give you a defensive front that they're going to send certain blitzes, say a TE blitz or corner blitz, a cat blitz, middle linebacker blitz, whatever, safety blitz. So when they give that, you're going to have our formation that we ran and see the personnel you have on the football field, and in 3 seconds, bark out a protection that is able to pick up that blitz that defense is coming. And as they snap their finger, 1,001, 1,002, 1,003 in the meeting room, you better say something. You better come up with something that can protect us and we can get in a good play against that blitz. So all those are evaluation times, Stu. It's just not what we see on, the preseason games and on highlights and 7 for 7 or 3 for 10 or 4 for 6. No, it's the overall one-on-ones, pass scale, red zone, backed up in the 4-minute drill. So the evaluation is a lot to be evaluated upon, but the game matters. The game absolutely matters.
In the Huddle with your boy Joe Ham, I'm One Live Stu, Ryan Stewart. Quick reminder that tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, the Two Live Stews, myself and my brother Doug, will be doing our Two Live Stews experience. So y'all pull up on us and check us out at 7 o'clock in the morning. It's every Monday and Thursday. If you can't catch it live, you can go back to Stewart Media and Entertainment on YouTube and catch it whenever time allows. Before we leave the world of Cleveland, it's the gift that keeps giving this offseason. Please share your thoughts on Dillon Gabriel's. The actual presser was during the game.
Right.
When he came out, he was actually on the sideline. The game was still in play. Where, in my opinion, and we'll get into it, I think he took a shot at his teammate, Shedeur Sanders. But in some others' opinion, it was not a shot. Please share your thoughts on Dillon Gabriel's comments about him being a competitor and not an entertainer.
Yes, my goodness, man. I heard Dillon Gabriel say that, and immediately, and first of all, I would like to say that everything I've heard coming out prior to Dillon Gabriel playing his first preseason game and saying those comments, a loving room, a room with great chemistry. They love rooting for each other. I'm talking about the Cleveland Browns, that quarterback room with Flacco, Pickett, Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders. Nothing but good things, the way they compete and help each other out. But when Dillon Gabriel made that statement, I'm like, no, he could not. There's no way Dillon Gabriel is not aware of what he just did if he meant it that way. There's no way he's going to take a shot at Shedeur Sanders, and he absolutely knows the backlash this is going to have. He absolutely knows that he's barking up the wrong tree, saying that he's not there. You directly saying that to Shedeur Sanders on national television. What are you doing, Gabriel? Please tell me no. And all the way up until then, I'm like, Dillon Gabriel, I just can't believe you've got to explain yourself about, man, who are you talking about? And then I got to myself saying, where did the entertainment come from, Shedeur? What did he do that's so entertaining that you would say that he's an entertainer? Where did that come from? So I'm looking at, where did you base your entertainer comments from? They even talk to Shedeur about entertaining, and you just there to compete. So when he came out of his presser, Stu, I got it. And I totally agree with what he said about the media being the entertainers. And here's why I totally believe that, because the media was constantly talking to him about the job and Shedeur did, and the job where the depth chart, what the emphasis on this game, and where does it match up, and where are you going to be next? Do you see yourself beating or even starting? Do you see yourself playing? And I think that was a reference to them being the know-it-all media. You guys are going to write whatever you guys are going to write. I have no control over that. I'm just here to play ball, is my take on it.
Okay. I hear you and I understand. And this is In the Huddle with Joe Ham. I am merely a co-host that's
facilitator,
playing the point man to facilitate and get us through the show and bring up different topics. And to when I see an opportunity to highlight something, I jump on it. This is what you want to deliver.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you one simple question.
Oh, absolutely.
You've been talking to those entertainers, the reporters and writers, all your life since you've been about 13, 14 years old. You've been getting interviewed. You've been talking to people before the game. You've been talking to writers after the games. You've been doing post-game pressers. You went to college where the Sports Information Department, SID, would literally hold your hand. The Sports Information Department and Allison George. Allison, if you're listening, I still love you dearly to this day.
Shout out to Allison George.
You are one of my favorite people. If you're watching and listening to this show, Allison, I love you. Allison George I'll never forget when I was having a conversation with her and she told me that she was going to do all that she could, and everyone else in the sports information department was going to do all that they could to make sure you got a shot at that Heisman. I was already going, just coming back to visit, just talking with her, and she was like, listen, we're pulling out all the stops.
And
we're doing everything we possibly can to make sure Joe gets a shot at that Heisman. So you work with Allison hand in hand throughout your Georgia Tech career. You leave Georgia Tech and you go to Tampa Bay. You play for the Colts. You spend time with the media. You watch Peyton Manning. You watch Derek Brooks. You watch Warren Sapp. Talk to the media. Mm-hmm. The simple question I want to ask you is, prior to that game, during the game where Dylan Gabriel made that comment, have you ever heard an athlete, not just a football player, an athlete refer to a member of the media as an entertainer?
No, I would say no.
Take your time and think about it. Have you ever heard Dion, who is an entertainer, call a media member an entertainer? Have you ever heard Tony Dungy or John Gruden, who does media all the time, look at the writers and the people asking the questions behind the camera, holding the mic? Have you ever heard any of them refer to a media member as an entertainer?
I have not. Now, definitely not holding the mic, but the only thing I would say about that, I've heard numerous NBA players address Stephen A. Smith as that. Now, he's not in the locker room these days. He's not in there, but they have said this guy is an entertainer, being in the media that he wish he wanted to play. But then you make a great point about in the locker room like that, never. But again, this is a guy in Dylan Gabriel that's always been on top of the media, been always the man in the media, always can write his own narrative in the media. Basically, this is the first time he's been third string in his life, right? So how he reacted on that sideline, I don't understand how would that have been a direct shot to Shedeur Sanders, and why clean it up? See, and that's my point. And you made a great point, Stu. I'm not distancing myself from what you said in the question you asked. Very few, if not, I had to not search, but the only name comes to my mind is Stephen A. Smith is referred to as an entertainer. But that's not locker room media anymore like that. But my point back to you is, seriously, why clean it up? Well, even your SI, even the Allison George, or his Allison George, or anybody around him is going to probably say, "Hey, that's not a good look. What do you really mean?" But
right, that's why you clean it up. That's exactly why you clean it up, because whoever's running their sports information department went to Dylan Gabriel like, "Hey, man, listen." The love and the outpouring of affection that Shedeur Sanders is getting.
He knows that.
Not just people in Cleveland, but all over the world. You don't want to damage your possible affection with those people.
Dylan Gabriel knew that, Stu.
Comment.
He knew that. You don't think he knew that?
I didn't walk it back, Joe. He did.
But
I didn't lie. I didn't lie to everybody in the post-game presser about the comment I made during the presser in-game. I didn't lie. I didn't walk it back. Dylan Gabriel did. I don't know if he was told to walk it back.
No,
but what I do know is
that's not a comment that you would have to be told to walk back. That is nothing. That is nothing that will cost you anything.
I hear you.
You don't have to walk that back.
I hear you and I understand, but it got walked back. It got walked back. You're trying to overlook the fact of the matter. It got walked back. So I don't know why it got walked back, but I do know this. I've been around the media and working in it my entire life. I've never referred to a writer or someone behind that camera holding the mic talking to someone during a game as an entertainer. They ain't no goddamn entertainer.
Why
They're
would
asking questions.
He
They're
said-
seeking information. They're writing. They're not singing. They're not dancing. They're not rapping. They're not playing sports. They're writing and asking questions. We've never referred to them as entertainers. Stephen A., totally different situation. He is one of the biggest entertainers in sports media.
In media.
That's his job. He does that. He's an entertainer. Yes, he's an entertainer. But Dylan Gabriel, the lady or the man that you were talking to during that game, no. That person, whoever it was, is not an entertainer.
It's not an entertainer.
He was talking about Shador and Shador, the lack of love or the hate that Shador endures. He wasn't talking about anybody else. So they found a way for him to walk it back, and they did. No. But now they're trying to sell us a lie to say that that's not what he meant. Joe, deep down inside, we know what he meant.
Hey, but my whole thing in dude, I can shift again. I mean, I like where you're coming from. I can shift again. Because initially I thought, man, what are you doing? Initially, what are you saying, Dylan Gabriel? What are you saying? But again, he said, I'm not here to entertain or entertainer. I'm here to compete. Shador is doing the same thing. Shador just competed his butt off. You just saw that. So what is he? What is he? What's the correlation to where he's saying Shador's entertaining and he's competing?
Hey Joe, I can't speak for Dylan Gabriel,
dude.
That's one thing I'm not going to do, and I've learned this within the last 10 years. Is I'm not going to try to interject myself into someone else's thoughts or someone else's comments. I don't know what that dude was talking about. But what I do know is he's a not God, G-O-D, but G-O-T, damn liar.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing about it, because again,
we don't look at the media as entertainers. We don't call them entertainers. We've never referred to them as entertainers.
And see, that's the thing about it with Dylan Gabriel, while I'll say that what he said in the media post-game, that was idiotic. Because when I ran with that, when I believed him, I said, okay, that's what you're doing. So you're going to attack the media now, you third stringer? You're going to have them against you? You're calling them? No, so that's where I went. Right. I went quickly to believe in him, Stu. I didn't even thinking about it the way you and Doug articulated it. Yep. I thought, so you're going to call the media out who's got your back? When you want to write a story or you want something good to be in a fuzzy type of way, when you want them to give you the benefit of the doubt about anything, they're not, because they're going to remember what you just said on that platform. That's where I was thinking. I'm not saying that he was absolved or saying anything. I'm saying when you say it was the media, why are you attacking them? So when you say attacking Shador, all right, I'm going to give you that. So, again, when you want, for number one, because I'm going to give you that, that means he lied, okay? Mm-hmm. And in lying, you attacked the media. so a double whammy goes your way. A double
whammy. Wrapping things up in the huddle with your boy Joe Ham. I'm your boy, one live Stu, Ryan Stewart. College football is in week 0, Joe. We shifted college football while we're in week 0. How are you feeling heading into this season, Joe?
Man, I'm feeling, because I'm a die-hard white, gold, blue, yellow jacket. Die hard. And this is the season, brother. Yeah, I'm also excited about the college football playoffs and the parity. We probably see a new crown champion this year, as we've seen the last few years, a different champion. I'm excited. I'm excited about the new teams, the new uproar, the non-blue bloods that's going to come along. But the Yellow Jackets, too. Here we are, Stewart. Here we are, Ryan Stewart, where the Yellow Jackets are going to make noise. Why am I so confident? Because this is what we do. We get old. We build. We develop. And then we use our experience and our coaching to get over the hump. As my senior year, approached, junior year, senior year, we got better. Gator Bowl, ACC champions. Then we could continue on because we got older. a little bit dip back sometimes when you transfer or get a little younger, but that dip back is going to be 7, 8 wins, not 4 and 5 wins. So now here we are. We got Haynes King, senior, played a lot of ball. Jamal Haynes, running back, a lot of football. We got Rivers, the wide receiver that's transferred, coming in. He's going to hopefully take the place of Eric Singleton Jr. We do have a new coordinator that worries me a little bit, Stu, and Blake Gideon, came from Texas. Young. He's in his mid-30s, young guy, energetic. But that energy is going to have guys making plays in different areas. A dynamic scheme defensively. Guys moving, corner blitzes, linebacker blitzes, shifting in the secondary. If we can catch on, or how soon we can catch on to his defense and play fast that way, while the offense mortars you down, wears you down, formation you to death, scheme you to death. Shout out to Buster Faulkner. The OC just got a new contract, over $1 million a year. That was very, very smart. Huge. Those are the reasons. And with a schedule that I looked up, Stu, I would only give the naysayers, I would only give Vegas, I would only give the haters 2 games where we should be underdogs. I'm talking at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, where you're going to play the Georgia Bulldogs at the end of the season, 2 days after Thanksgiving, and when the Clemson Tigers come to Bobby Dodd Stadium. So I think the spread right now over in Colorado is 2.5. We're giving away 2.5.
Listen, it was 4.5 when I checked it a couple of days ago. As a matter of fact, I can pull it up right now while you finish this statement. Go ahead and finish the statement.
So, and then the toss-up games. Now, throughout the season, we don't have, spreads on every game, but it's going to be along the lines of how are your team doing? How's the other teams doing? What's going on with that, where they might move or needle the spread a little bit. But those toss-up games, we should win. We should win. And I'm giving you a toss-up game somewhere down the line. So I'm looking at somewhere 9 wins this season because of the schedule. 9 wins because of the schedule and because of the experience of being in this offense for Haynes King and company 3+ years.
We've got
3+ years.
We've got a -4 right now by our names, meaning that we're a 4-point favorite over Colorado in Colorado. I had no idea it would be that high.
That's a blowout.
However,
it's on the road. Because it's on the road.
Deion's situation, Deion's cancer, Deion not being there for a long period of time, Travis being gone, Shador being gone, those places needing to be refilled. I feel good about Georgia Tech getting the win. I took the game at 4.5. So since I took it, the numbers dropped a little bit, which means the money is coming in Colorado right now. I haven't felt this confident about an opening season game for the Yellow Jackets to get a dub in quite a long time. Real quick, Joe, do you see this team, our beloved Yellow Jackets, competing for an ACC title this year?
Yes. And that's a very unique combination of why I'm saying that. I'm saying it because of the experience. I'm saying because of what you tasted against the Bulldogs up in Athens with a record 8 overtime, that confidence that was, a lot of people might disagree, but you got confidence in that loss. And now you're going forward, man, with a light schedule, a light ACC schedule. Remember now, there's no more Coastal and Atlantic Division. It's just one ACC, 2 best records. So you go ahead and you take care of the business against Clemson and you don't slip against those other teams. The Jackets could be going to Charlotte, man, and a chance to win the ACC championship. And you all know, and we know, if you win the ACC championship, where you headed from there. That's college football playoffs, baby. Yes, sir.
Wrapping things up in the huddle with your boy Joe Ham. We will take a few minutes to get to a few chat messages, even though we're after the 12 o'clock mark. Before we get to a couple of chats, Joe, name your conference winners out of the Power 4 conferences. Who's coming out on top in the SEC, ACC, Big 10, and the Big 12?
Man, goodness. I would be remiss not to pick Georgia Tech for the ACC, but I'm going to try and be really, really right, not try to be a homer. I'm going Clemson out of the ACC. I am going Clemson out of the ACC just for the fact that Clay Klubnik is coming back. Dabo is loaded offensively with those wide receivers. I got Clemson. SEC, this is going to surprise you. For some reason, man, I am really, really high on Brian Kelly. Really high on Brian Kelly and LSU and that talent. Gus Nussmeier, the quarterback. I'm going LSU to come out of the SEC. That's a dark horse. That's going out on a limb, but that's where I'm going. And I'm going to go out on a limb again, man, in the Big Ten. I'm going with James Franklin. I'm going to James Franklin, and understand with my premises of me doing this, I'm going behind the center. An all-world, played a lot of football and drew all at Penn State.
He's a very good quarterback.
Same thing with Klubnik at Clemson. Same thing with Nussmeier at LSU. And in the Big 12, I'm just in love with Kansas State and the way they do things. The way they go about it, the way they draft those JUCO guys, they able to go in the portal.
Coaches used to say that all the time. I like how they handle their business.
Yeah, I like how they handle their business.
Yeah.
I mean, they're due for an upset or two each and every year. So that's where I'm going. And again, that playoff, we don't necessarily need to do that because that'll be real fluid. But that's my conference winners right there, man. And it's going to change. It's definitely going to change. And I hope it changes.
Right. It needs to change, man. Shouts out to our guy, John Barnes, 6215. Had some super chat in the show today. Joe Ham is our Heisman winner. Them folks was on some bullshiggity. We talk about that all the time, John. We agree, sir. We definitely agree. All right, let's see who else we got here. Another one from John. Nope, this is from Jungle Brother. You could have sent Ronald McDonald to the Colts, and he would have beat out Richardson. White quarterbacks will get the job over a black quarterback if the black quarterback isn't a superstar.
I gotta disagree, Jungle Brother.
Yeah, Jungle Brother. I'm not going to. Joe talked about the play earlier, Jungle, where Richardson didn't slide the protection. Richardson didn't see an open and free rusher coming towards him, and it took the guy 8 steps to get there. Richardson didn't see the guy beyond the open rusher that was there for him to check the ball down to. He never looked. That's the kind of things where if it happens in a live game on a Sunday and that ball pops out and they scoop and score, now we're behind the gun and it's hard. We fighting uphill. You can go into the season with a guy that is not going to do that and has that awareness, Jungle. It makes a huge difference, man. You go ahead, Joe.
No, and I just believe that AR-15 did not beat out Daniel Jones. He didn't make enough plays. I mean, the guy he's not able at this point. Let's go back to his record, his number of starts. At this point, he has not played enough football to be able to diagnose coverages in a timely fashion. That's all.
That's it. That's it. Neef Buck, 316. Jones got the job the day he signed the contract, period. He didn't win the job at training camp or preseason BS. I'm sorry, man.
I'm sorry. Circumstances say that. I'm sorry, and that's all. And because you got hurt on a misplay. I mean, you got hurt on a protection, your fault, so to speak.
Yeah.
And you missed time.
Yeah.
That caused you to miss time, and you didn't wow the coaches. And by the way, this was the same coaching staff that Stu, I'm going to make a point now that you should forget sometimes, and it shouldn't be in the back of your mind. But this is a coaching staff, and this is the same team Anthony Richardson tapped his head on. Mm-hmm. Right? Now, you would want to say new season, and I'm not going to think about that, but we're humans.
It's hard to forget things like that. DJ Chuck 4459. Unfortunately, Anthony Richardson didn't develop in the coach system over the last few years. Hopefully, he'll improve in his throwing accuracy and check down. Now, I will say this. Thank you for the message, DJ Chuck. Because he was taken so high, and because he's got a strong arm and he's a really good-sized kid, he'll have another 4 or 5 years to get an opportunity to play more ball.
Oh, he'll get that opportunity.
More coaches will see him and give him a chance because those coaches will think they're the ones that can make him conform to what someone wants him to be. He'll continue to get chances because he was taken so high.
And any good mentor, Stu, will bring up Sam Darnold.
Yes.
Any good mentor would bring up Baker Mayfield.
Yes, good.
Any good mentor would bring up Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah.
Mitchell Trubisky is still in the league. Now, he's not starting, but he's still in the elite. So Anthony Richardson is going to be judged that if Daniel Jones goes down, are you ready and are you preparing to be able to go in there and pick up the pieces right away?
Last one from Raider Kev. What we have to identify is some teams are serious and some teams offer for entertainment purposes. Only Cleveland has proven they offer for entertainment purposes only. Question for you real quick, Joe.
Yeah.
And shout out to somebody mentioned, Raider Kev mentioned the LSU Tigers that you mentioned, Brian Kelly. I don't believe in Brian Kelly no more, but we're not going to argue.
I bet you don't, man. I'm not going to argue for him.
These quarterbacks today, when drafted high, don't have 5 or 6 years to figure it out. They're spending too much money. These coaches don't get that 5 or 6 years to figure it out themselves. You may get 2, you may get 3 if you're lucky, but when they don't believe in you, they just can't keep putting you out there because their job is on the hook.
Man, hey, listen, Chris Ballard, the GM of the Indianapolis Colts, man, his job is on the blocks double time. Because this guy is the guy he drafted 3rd overall. Yeah. Shane Steichen came in with this quarterback. Shane Steichen drafted Anthony Richardson. Yeah. They wanted you to do the same magic you did with Jalen Hurts with Anthony Richardson. Right. And now you've messed up. So if y'all don't win with this, man, heads might roll, brother.
What's the difference in the 2 quarterbacks, Hurts and Richardson? Hurts played a lot of football in college.
Oh,
Richardson
man.
Did not.
Good point, brother. Good point. I tell you what though. You talked about the perfect situation. Man, I am really excited about this football player because he's a quarterback. The perfect situation is Jackson Dart. Because Jackson Dart, this strikes me as this. This strikes me as a Kansas City Chiefs and Alex Smith and Pat Mahomes. And here's why, Stu. Here's why. Because organizationally, you want Russell Wilson to start 16 games and the Giants to have a successful season. That's what you want. And Jackson Dart can sit there that whole season and learn that way. Yeah. And by the end of the season, like Kansas City did that year, right. Patrick Mahomes started one game.
Patrick Mahomes, Yes.
Yeah. Patrick Mahomes started one game that season. And then because you were only on a 1-year contract with Alex Smith, or he was an unrestricted free agent after that, you let him go. Yeah. Russell Wilson signed a 1-year deal. Yeah. If he starts this whole season, then good for you. Let him go. Then your guy's right behind that. Yeah. I think they're in a perfect situation.
In the huddle with your boy Joe Ham. Joe, outstanding job, sir. Really appreciate it, man.
Man, that was good stuff, brother. That was good stuff.
It flew by again, Ham. It's almost 10 minutes after 12, sir.
Oh, man, that's good stuff, brother. Yeah. It's going to only get better, man.
Hey, man, it will get better, man. I look forward to seeing you next week, bro. Peace, man. Love you, dog.
Be easy, brother.
Hey, man, that's In the Huddle with your boy Joe Ham, and that's going to bring us to an end. This episode is a wrap for In the Huddle with Joe Ham. Big thanks to my big brother, my little brother, that is, Joe Ham, for always bringing the heat and keeping it real. Remember, y'all, whether it's the NFL, college football, or right back home with our Yellow Jackets, the conversation doesn't stop when the clock hits 0. This is In the Huddle with Joe Ham, where the game always ends with the truth. We will see you next week. Peace and blessings, y'all. Peace and blessings.